Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for this month's edition of Cook's Corner. This month we're going to do kind of a dessert, surprise, surprise. I know we did dessert last time, but like I said, I have a whole bunch of sweet tea. So today we are actually going to make a Japanese dessert called mochi. So mochi is really just rice cake. You can kind of fill it with anything you want. Traditionally it's filled like a red bean paste or a mung paste, but we're actually going to fill ours today with ice cream. So the first thing we have to do is take our cookie scoop. If you don't have a cookie scoop, you can just use 2 spoons, but you do want this to be sort of in the shape of a ball. So if you use 2 spoons, just kind of use the spoons to kind of shape it into a ball shape. But if you have, this is just a 2-ounce cookie scoop, just a traditional cookie scoop. So if you have a 2-ounce scoop, it will come in very handy. So if you don't have a muffin tin like this is just a mini muffin tin, you can use just an egg carton. You just want something that's going to kind of hold the shape of the ball shape that we're going with. Okay, so while the ice cream is sort of hardening up, we are going to make the mochi dough. So mochi dough is actually, it's simple, but it's kind of messy and sticky. So it is one of those things that's really fun to make. You do need sweet glutinous rice flour, which is a little difficult to find around here. I couldn't find it in any of our local stores, so I actually had to go to Amazon to get this. But it's not really all that expensive, and you'll probably get 2 or 3 batches of mochi. I don't know what else you'd use this for. I'm sure there's lots of good things you can use this for, but I'm just going to use it for mochi ice cream because it's just really tasty. So you can pretty much, use any brand you want, but it just has to be sweet glutinous rice flour. Don't try to get just regular flour or regular rice flour. Regular flour won't work, so just make sure it's a sweet glutinous rice flour. Alright, so this is all we do. We take our rice flour and we sift it with a 1/4 cup, and that's a cup of rice flour. We're going to put a 1/4 cup of sugar in here. And we're going to add a cup of water to this. And that's it. 3 ingredients, super easy. So we're going to stir this until it's all nice and smooth. So at this point, it's going to kind of look like cream of wheat, but you don't want any clumps in here. You want it to be all nice and smooth. So we're going to cover this with saran wrap. So clingy. Alright, make sure you get a nice snug fit. And we're going to put this in the microwave for 1 minute. Alright, so we're going to pull this out of the microwave. This is a little warm right now, but it's not too bad. We're going to take the plastic wrap off, but we're not going to get rid of it because we need it again. And we're going to give this a good stir, just to get any more lumps out. Alright, so when we have all the lumps out, we cover it back up, and we put it back in the microwave for another minute. so we've taken it out of the microwave. It's microwave for 1 minute. So now we're going to take the plastic wrap off. Again, we're going to save it because we need this for one more microwave. So now this is too sticky to use your whisk. So now we're going to take a spatula, and I've got a little cup of water here because this is sticky at this point. So just kind of dunk it in the water. And just give it a good stir. I don't know if you can see how sticky this is. Yeah, you can. Oh yeah, you can. So we're going to give this a good stir just to make sure that there still aren't any lumps in here. That looks good. Alright, so plastic wrap goes back on. Once more into the microwave, this time for 30 seconds. And then we're done. So this part is relatively painless. It's the next part that can get really sticky. But it can go south quick. 30 seconds in the microwave. Okay, so our mochi dough has just come out of the microwave for its last 30 seconds. So now we are going to take it out of the bowl and put it down onto some parchment paper. But it's really important that you are coating this parchment paper with something that's going to prevent it from sticking to the paper. So I'm going to use a little bit extra of my rice flour. You can use cornstarch at home. People I know who are going to be eating this are allergic to cornstarch. So I really can't use that because there will be an absurd amount that we're putting down to keep this from sticking. You could use tapioca starch if you want to, taro root, some sort of powder, depending on if you have any allergies, but I'm going to go ahead and just use some more of the rice flour because I have it here. So we're just going to give this one more stir. Not too vigorously at this point. So now you've basically got your ball of dough, and you can see how sticky that is. So what we're going to do is really lay down a good layer to prevent this from sticking to the parchment paper. And as you go along, if you find you need more, just go ahead and put a little bit more down. Okay, so we're going to drop this right into the middle of our parchment paper. And what you have is this really gelatinous, sticky dough. So now we're actually going to put more cornstarch on top. We're really going to lay it on, not cornstarch, this is our the rice flour, but you're going to put whatever you're going to put on, we're going to put a whole bunch on top. Okay, so we're going to roll that out. You want it to be probably 12 inches by 18 inches. You want it to roll it out to about 1/4 of an inch thickness. You don't want it to be too thick because it'll be really sort of chewy. But you don't want to be so thin that it's not going to wrap the ice cream either. So about 1/4 of an inch. So now what we have to do is we have to chill this. So go ahead and what we're going to do is take our parchment paper. So I taped mine down just to keep it on the table so I can move it around. You don't have to do that. This is the tricky part. So you know what we're going to do. I'm actually going to slide it off the table. You probably won't see it, but Okay, so right now there is a lot of rice flour on here. There would be a lot of cornstarch, whatever you put on. We're actually going to knock a lot of that off a little bit later. But now this can go right into the fridge right now, just like this, uncovered, for about 20 minutes. Alright, so our ice cream is done chilling and our mochi dough is done chilling as well. We've just taken it out of the refrigerator, now it's back on our table. So now we just have to cut it out. So let's get working on putting these together. So you need a round cookie cutter or a round something that will cut through the dough. This might take a little trial and error. To kind of figure out how big of a round cutout you need for your ice cream. So I've got a 2-ounce scoop, which gives me about 1.5 inches sort of circle. So I want about a 3 to 3.5 inch circle to cut out, because we need to make sure that we get all the way around the ice cream and that it kind of, you have enough that it'll meet on the bottom and you can kind of mush it together. So I have my little ring. And all we do is cut them out. So this is kind of like biscuit dough. You want to cut these really close together, because you can't, once you have cut these, you really can't put this back together and roll it out again. So cut them as close together as you can. So I got 10 cuts out of that. If I had finagled it a little bit better, I probably could have got 12, so I would have got my 12, the 12 ice cream balls that I cut out, but hey, now I've got 2 little ice cream balls I can eat. So now we just need to work these and wrap these together. So first off, you need to knock the extra dust off the, it's not real dust, but the rice flour. So just take a brush, I just have a little paintbrush, knock off the extra rice flour or cornstarch, whatever you used. If you notice that the bottom is still pretty dusty with it too, you can just turn it over. Mine is not. Okay, so now we're going to work these one at a time. We don't want to take all the ice cream out and have it sitting here and do this one at a time, because the ice cream is going to melt really quick. So we're just going to fill these up. I'm going to grab one ice cream real quick and I'll show you how to do this, and then I'll do them all real quick. Okay, so we just take our ice cream ball, kind of put it in the middle, and you can already see that the ice cream is melting already, so that's why you kind of need to work really quick. You bring the edges up, just kind of pull them together. This is why you need kind of that excess. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of plastic wrap, and we're going to wrap it over, and then we're just going to kind of squeeze. This is just going to help keep the kind of where the seam is for the mochi together and squish together. And kind of give it a little bit of a twist, kind of really kind of push it into the top there. So once this is all set, we're basically going to put this back in the freezer. Whatever you have for your tin, your muffin tin or your egg carton, just set this back down on top of that, and these all have to freeze for about 2 hours to let the ice cream set back up, let the mochi set, and then when we are going to eat them, we're going to take them out about 5 minutes. 5 minutes before we eat them, just to kind of let everything warm up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up this batch, and we'll be ready to try them. Okay, so our mochi has set for about 2.5 to 3 hours. If you want the ice cream to set really hard, let it set for a couple more hours. You can even let it set overnight. If you just can't wait, you can dive in now. we're going to cut into it right now, and we'll show you what it looks like. So that's Mochi. It seems like a kind of a lot of work for a small reward, and you only get about a dozen of these. You could double this recipe. I would not recommend you actually doubling the recipe and trying to make one giant sheet of the rice paper. I would do it twice. But you saw it didn't take all that long to make. Just kind of a fun thing to do. Just something different. And I gotta eat these things before they melt. So thanks for joining me for this month's edition of Cook's Corner. And until next time, keep cooking.